Oh my goodness. Good evening, everybody. How lovely to see such a large and significant crowd all joined together. Very lovely indeed. Oh, I'm terribly sorry for keeping you waiting a few minutes. I hope you joined us in fine fettle this evening and that you're going to enjoy the information that we have to provide you. So the first thing I'm going to do, please don't think me rude, but I'm going to mute everyone because there's quite a significant amount of feedback coming through and I want to ensure that we all have the most pleasurable experience. So what I will do towards the end of the call is open up everyone's microphones again so that you can ask any questions or give any feedback or get any queries or things you might not be certain about to get them answered, sorry. So, I've just been rushing around. Please forgive my breathlessness running up the stairs as I have been. So I'm just going to press a few more buttons now. There we go. There's me on the big screen. Hello, everyone. So you can't see my lights, can you, other than they're lit up on the wall? Okay, so, so thank you very much for joining in with us this evening. It's really great of you to take the time out this evening. Hopefully you've all had a great day and you're in a receptive mood, ready to hear about the wonderful products that we have here within the Isagenix catalogue or range of products, the benefits of consuming them, the benefit to you of taking those products, and also a little bit, just a little flavour and touch on the opportunity of sharing those products, both as a customer, because we have a customer referral program here within Isagenix, and also should you choose to become a fellow associate, like many of us, hundreds or in fact thousands across the UK have already. Excuse me, let's have a little drink. And really get started in earnest building a residual passive income. So for those of you that don't know me, there seems to be lots of lovely new faces joining us this evening. Well, thank you very much, Eloise. That's very kind. Someone just said, like, amazing. So that's very nice. Thank you. So for those of you that haven't perhaps joined us before, have just come for a little more information, find out what it's all about. Maybe you've been harassed to death by a friend of yours to come and find out more, all with good reason, of course. So my name is Darius Ward, and I've been involved in network marketing for around the last 5 years. So I've actually run a number of quite successful businesses in the past in traditional forms, project management, construction, business analysis, process improvement, a number of different things really. I actually had 40 jobs by the time I was just 21, which I'm now just 1 or 2 years older than that. And no secrets being given away this evening. So they're saying, oh yeah, so I had lots of jobs. So then got involved in network marketing about 5 years ago. The reason I did so, actually, I have to say, was because I've been made redundant for the third time in just a sort of 15-year career, 3 times made redundant. I took the hint and realised that perhaps the security and the solidity of a lifetime career, a solid 40-year career, was perhaps something that wasn't available to me at that time any further, and I've obviously since gone on to find out that that's very much the case for many other people besides. So the gentleman that introduced me to network marketing, not that I knew at the time, was actually a 7-figure earner himself, had many millions from the network marketing industry over a 15, 20-year career, had really mastered the skill and the art of network marketing, and had gone on to have really great success. So I learned a lot from him. I progressed on, as we do, to other opportunities, was involved previously in a pre-launch opportunity here in the UK, and cutting a very long story short, actually built my downline to more than 28,000 people across 8 different countries with very little experience, just a certain tenacity, a certain will to succeed, and certainly a good dollop of hard work too. Which collectively, between myself and the 28,000 people in my downline, generated around the £20 million a year mark, which was, great and very enjoyable. However, I was presented with the Isagenix opportunity, probably going back to around August of September of last year now. I was one of the first people, certainly in the first few hundred, to be approached for this wonderful opportunity. So very skeptical was I at the time. I was actually perfectly happy earning a six-figure income and plodding along quite nicely, coaching and training, all the really enjoyable skills that we learn as we develop in a network marketing career and opportunity. So it wasn't something that I took very lightly. It was something that I wanted to weigh up, to consider very carefully. And that's why I'm so joyful that you've decided to tune in with us tonight, because perhaps we can start you on that same exploratory journey yourself. So I flew over to Phoenix, Arizona, which is the world headquarters of Isagenix, and experienced quite a number of things. I was very pleasantly surprised, to say the least. Like I say, entering with an open yet still inquisitive, maybe even slightly skeptical mind. So the first thing that I discovered was that whilst there are 800 staff, now bearing in mind what we're talking about is knocking on the door of $1 billion a year company. So it's likened very much to many other multinational companies, both in the network marketing direct sales industry as well as elsewhere. So $1 billion worth of sales with over 500,000 established customers worldwide. So that's a very great number, especially in network marketing terms. And it's actually one of only 5 companies in the history, 50, 60-year history of the industry to ever break the $500 million a year mark. And obviously has since gone on to almost double that. And the really exciting news I found out whilst in Phoenix, Arizona, that with the launch of the UK and 15 other mainland European countries over the next 2 years, that's actually going to double again. They're planning, anticipating, targeting, and are bang on track for, just 4 or 5 weeks in, to achieve $2 billion a year in sales each and every year. So talk about the right place and the right time. So that was very exciting to me, being an entrepreneur and a business person. It's all about growth. It's all about, for me at least, not making things any harder than they need to be for yourself. So there's many very wonderful companies out there that have achieved really very wonderful and great things, but very few certainly that are going to experience the rapid expansion and growth, not only in terms of the number of open markets that the products are going to be available in, but also in terms of the size and volume of the teams that are going to be grown. And the UK very much here is the base camp for that operation. And I mean that both corporately, because they have a 10,000 square feet office in central London, one floor of which is completely dedicated to us as customers and associates to go along, to try the products, to learn a little more, to meet other people, perhaps attend a presentation similar to this, albeit in a face-to-face real life manner, with more than 40 staff already in the UK. Servicing our needs. Each of the members of the customer service team are bi or even trilingual to cater for that European expansion. We have a distribution center already set up, which ships in 3 to 4 days for a flat rate shipping fee. Comes straight to our front doors for our convenience and enjoyment, saves going down to the local supermarket and trailing those bags back and forth. And not only that, they have invested more than £30 million and committed that amount of money over the next 3 to 5 years to support, to fund, to develop and grow not only us here in the UK, but right across mainland Europe too. So really interesting facts. So I then went on to have a tour of the head office facility and was really delighted to see that there's not 1 or 2, but actually several laboratory facilities built right into head office, and more than 40 full-time scientists and lab technicians working each and every day, not only to grow, develop and refine the existing products, but also to bring us new products too, always innovating and staying ahead of the curve, as the company has done for more than 15 years now. So that was really great to see. So then, as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and believe me, I'm a big fan of that. And so when I got the opportunity to try some of the products, it was, quite the sort of acid test, because with all the support, all of the money, all of the staff, all of the great leaders, etc., 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 that's all wonderful. But at the end of the day, the product is a load of rubbish, then that's not really very much use, is it? So the first product I tried was actually an isoline shake, a strawberry flavour isoline shake, which not only tasted like strawberries, but actual real strawberries, because guess what? That's what it's made with. But also didn't have that chalky consistency. So for people who've perhaps tried protein-based products before, the chalky consistency is something that's often quite there. But actually I learned and went on to discover, was that was because of the additives, because of the extra things that are added to typical protein-based products, which don't feature here in the Isagenix range. So not only that, what was interesting was I'd actually skipped my breakfast that day, having arrived late on my flight that evening, the night before. We went straight off for the head office tour to find out more about it all, and then consumed that shake, which is made with water. It's a powdered protein-based product with 300 minerals and trace elements in, all of which feed and nourish the body. And so having consumed that, not even sort of about half a litre, something like that, of volume, actually then was full and didn't need nor desire to eat for a further 4 hours until I went on to eat a normal dinner time. Well, normal for Arizona time, so obviously I was a bit confused. But nonetheless, 4 hours later, was still feeling great and had no particular desire to eat. So following on the next day, I attended a meeting whilst I was over there to find out more. It was a training information type session. And during the break time, then the isoline bars, so their meal replacement bars, were handed out. It was called Chocolate Decadence. I thought, oh, that's a very nice name, isn't it? But my fear actually was that whilst it would, following on from the isoline shake, would be a very excellent product of a good standard, was that nonetheless it would taste like American chocolate. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what I am saying that it's not my preference or choice, but actually was delighted to find out that actually it was milk chocolate, very much like we're accustomed to here in the UK, which is very great. Not only that, by getting just three quarters the way through that bar, having looked at it, and comparing it, with my sort of naive eyes, if you will, at the time, I thought, well, that's very similar in shape and size, perhaps slightly larger than like a cereal bar or one of the many sorts of brand bars and that kind of thing that's available on the supermarket shelves. However, I was delighted to find that after consuming just 3/4 of that product, a particular bar, and actually I was completely satisfied and felt no need to even finish that particular product. So very filling. And then what I've gone on to find is that it's all the secret to this success is not only that every single product ingredient within the products is a naturally sourced product or ingredient, should I say, but also that by feeding the body the protein that it needs. Now, bearing in mind, the protein contained within Isagenix products is undenatured whey protein. And what that really simply means is that the whey has been separated and treated and processed in such a way that the nutrient value is still present. Whereas should it be denatured, which can often be found in many other products, by adding milk to a product, that's a sure sign that in fact the whey protein has been denatured. Then what that does is create bioavailability is the term. So all that means is that when you're putting it in, it's actually absorbed by the bloodstream and taken around to the organs and different parts of the body and actually becomes useful and productive. But also by feeding that protein into the body, then it nourishes the muscle mass, which is normally what we lose on a typical quote-unquote diet plan. So not so. So that was very interesting. Not only that, by feeding the additional vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that the body needs, then what that actually does is overall, in a very natural sense, no artificial stimulants are used in any of the processes at all, then it very, very naturally lifts the function of the body so that each of the organs can do what it's designed to do. So really clever stuff. So that was when I learned then that the products, while scientifically developed by a guy called John Anderson, I'll tell you a little bit more about just in a moment, are really very simply at the heart of it, correct and proper nutrition. It is the correct and proper nutrition that the body needs to not only exist, but also to flourish and to thrive. Something that sadly is absent in most modern diets, even for the healthiest guys and girls out there that may be listening in or elsewhere. And the reason being that the products that we find on the supermarket shelves, etc., typically are harvested prior to their ripening period. The reason being that if they're grown when they are fully formed, but not yet ripe is the key thing, then very simply they can survive transportation for longer, more miles and more days, and then will last longer on the supermarket shelf. So it's very much profit orientated. Now, that's great in terms of the supermarket's bottom line, even great for us in terms of we get something aesthetically pleasing, it's the right shape and size, colour and texture, etc. However, what it means is that, in essence, all of those products comparatively are actually nutritionally bankrupt. And what I mean by that is that the ripening process, where it's on the vine or in the root or in the ground still, wherever it might come from, fruits, vegetables, proteins alike, then they're not given the chance to absorb the nutrients from the soil, transfer into the pepper, the tomato, the carrot, the kale, the cucumber, whatever it might be, the banana, and therefore don't have the nutrition in. And so it's not that they've had it, but it's depleted. It's that they're not present at all in the first instance because of the process. And so it was a real joy and delight to find out that all of the natural ingredients that are used within Isagenix products right across the range are sourced from farms where not only pesticides, herbicides, etc., all the chemical nasties that we hear so much about are completely unpresent, not there at all. But also each of the fruits, each of the vegetables, all of the different ingredients in whole and ripe form are allowed to grow and ripen on the vine or on the root or whatever the process might be, so that then they are filled with the nutrition that can then be converted into this powder form, as wonderful as it is, and then we can benefit from that. So one quick comparison then from a recent survey that was published, in fact it was about 2 years ago if I'm being absolutely truthful, but about 2 years ago a survey was put out by a completely independent source, nothing to do with Isagenix or any health company for that matter. It was a purely independent study and research, and they found that should you wish to consume a bowl of spinach, in terms of the iron content that's found in it, the vitamin, the nutrient that's really useful from iron, or one of them anyway, then to do so, to take that bowl of spinach from 30 years ago when products were grown, properly as such, allowed to ripen before harvested, and then buy the comparative amount to get the same nutrients from it in today's terms, you would have to buy more than 30 bowls of that same spinach to get the same nutrient value. To give you a practical example of exactly what I'm talking about. So given that that's the case, even with the healthiest of diets, the best of choices, you're still not going to be, or it's very unlikely, should I say, that you're going to be receiving the vitamins, the nutrients, the great things that feed the organs, the cells of the body and keep us vital, alive and kicking. So that was really quite disturbing news. So I then went on and thought, well, that's all wonderful. So the leaders are wonderful. The leadership within the company is wonderful. The owners, very humble. The manufacturing process, the way that the products are handled, the quality testing, the way customers are dealt with and cared for, all of those things are great. The product is amazing, and I'm learning, more and more every minute as I'm involved in this wonderful circle of people. But nonetheless, if it's £10 a shake, well, you can forget it, because even if you had £1 million in the bank, you're not very likely to be spending £10 a meal on £10 every day or 2 or more times a day every day of the week, are you? Of course. So at that point, I inquired about the price and was equally delighted to learn that each of the whole meal replacement shakes costs just £2.57. And I thought, well, wow, that's incredible, because not only is that comparable in price to, let's say, a meal deal down at the local supermarket or convenience shop, or very similar to if you were to go out and buy some meat and vegetables and fruits and whatever for your lunch or dinner. But not only that, if you bear it in mind, you would have to buy 30 bags of spinach. You can only imagine how much of everything else you would have to buy to get that same amount of nutrition. So not only is it comparable in price to what we're already spending, so actually, as far as I'm concerned, is a no-cost option because we're going to eat, right? The only choice, of course, is what we choose to eat on each occasion, but also provides us with what we actually need. So a really intriguing, simple, yet very clever solution. So this has all come from the mind of a gentleman called John Anderton. And John Anderton is nicknamed Mr. Mineral within the industry. He owns several mines. He's actually the third richest man in the state of Arizona, so very wealthy to say the least. And he actually developed these products over a 30-year plus career, having developed and holding the patent on more than 2,300 products across the world. So the chances are that if you've consumed a health or wellness product in the past under any brand or banner or image or whatever it might be, there's every chance that it was actually he that originally formulated it. However, as is often the case, as I've described in some instances with some of the supermarket products, then it's driven by the profit, by the bottom line, not actually for the benefit to the end user. And that is what he found in his career, over his 30-year career, was that he would make what he considered to be these perfect formulas for balanced nutrition that really benefit the end user that decides to consume them. However, they were then taken by that company, having bought the rights, the manufacturing rights, and whatever else, all these business deals that occur across the world, and then filled them with things that were appeared to be the same, but didn't have the same nutritional benefit, and that saddened him somewhat. No more so than when actually he became poorly himself. He was running into his 60s, suffered with diabetes, a few other health and age-related ailments. Excuse me. And so he decided in his lab, I don't know whether it was at home or at the Isagenix head office, whichever you prefer, and he developed this wonderful range of products for himself, with no one in mind, no profit, no commercial use whatsoever, just for himself. So that to sort of put it to that test and see whether the correct nutrition would benefit him, as he had been prescribing and describing all along, and was very pleased to find that he's benefited very greatly from consuming these powder-based products, as well as some other capsules and things that he developed. So much so that he chose to share them with his friends and his close friends and his family. And they started to consume the products and really loved them too. And then they asked if they could get some for their friends because they felt so great. They had increased energy, more mental alertness, perhaps felt more stable on their feet due to the more solidified muscle mass from the protein intake they've been having with no exercise whatsoever in most instances. And on and on it went from there. And he actually built it. Now, bearing in mind, he's a very, very intelligent man, obviously. He's done really great things with his life already, but a business person was never something that he wanted to be. But nonetheless, through word-of-mouth expansion, he grew that business to more than $100 million turnover per year. And at that point, turned to his good friends, Jim and Kathy Coover. Now, Jim Coover, sorry, just lost my train for a second. Jim Coover then is a 30 years plus veteran of the direct sales industry, having been CEO of 3 different billion-dollar companies, having grown them to that billion-dollar mark, just as he's doing here with Isagenix and beyond. And then Kathy, his wife, had entered into 3 different network marketing companies and become a top-paid position, the largest business in each of those 3 over a 20-year career, both of whom then went on to retire very happily, very affluent, to care for the young family, spend some downtime, having worked very hard over 30 plus years. And then John Anderson then approached them and said, look, this is where it's at. I can really see, I really want to share these wonderful products with as many people as possible. I know that you've grown really wonderful businesses in the past, and would you be interested in taking a look and coming along on this journey? So to cut a very long story short, they 3, along with their son, Eric, who in the relative scheme of things, the last 5 or 6 years has now entered the business. He's really cut his teeth, starting off as an associate and building a substantial income while still studying at university or college, as they call it in America. And now he's the executive vice president of global development or something like that. Very nice title and a very nice guy too. So between the four of them now run this organization. They've grown it from that 100 million a year mark to nearly the billion, to go on to $2 billion per year in turnover. Very wonderful stuff indeed. So just 1 second, sorry. What are you doing? You distracted me, please. Now then, where was I? I do apologise for that. Completely lost my train of thought. So yeah, so went on and are now going on to build that to more than $2 billion per year. So the product is right. The quality is assured. There's a 30-day full money back guarantee policy that's in place. So even if you return the pot or the bottle or whatever product it is you choose to consume, then you are very welcome to return that product for any reason. So, so confident are the company that they will offer that full money back 30-day guarantee, but the global figures across 500,000 customers over 15 years that's been developed, the return rate is less than 1%, because people try the products out, they come to love the products, and then they go on to share the product, should they choose, with other people, which really then touches on what's in it for you. So the thing is that the other saying that has stood the test of time and certainly holds true in most instances is that there is no such thing as a free lunch. Of course, I'm sure we've all heard that. So the one exception that I'm willing to offer you here is that with Isagenix there truly is. Well, how's that? I hear you ask me. Well, let me tell you. So the way that it works then is that you can choose to place an order, get started. There's many different packs available. The person that invited you to this call this evening, go back to them, ask them any questions you might have, help you get that order processed should you wish. So you get started on whatever pack you might choose, a collection of products that work synergistically together to greatest effect. So we have systems for weight management, whether that's to drop pounds, release pounds, or whether that's actually to gain weight, which is the case in some instances. People sometimes struggle, whether it's through a thyroid problem or just a general disposition of eating habits, etc. And we can aid and help with that. It could be energy and performance that you're seeking, in which case you may be athletic, you may take part in Sunday football, you may go out for regular runs, you may have gym activity, swimming, cycling, I don't know, whatever it might be. And then again, we have solutions that can aid in that so that you can work harder, so that you can have greater endurance and increase your muscle mass, should that be a goal that you're working towards. And then last but certainly not least, we also have a range of products that can help with those that want to have a healthy life into later life. So as we know, the bones can become brittle over time, which is attributed to a lack of the correct nutrition over a period of time, sadly, given the bankrupt foods that we're dealing with, of course. However, we can aid in that process. We can create further stability within the muscle mass, keep you on your feet and solid and firm. And then even if you were to have an unfortunate fall or to suffer a tumble or something, then you will be more likely to be able to recover more quickly, get yourself back up, brush yourself off and carry on. So a number of different packs available for a number of different reasons. But like I say, the person who referred you here this evening can help you out with that in more detail. So let's say that you've made that decision, you've decided to get started, you're working on the basis of a preferred customer. Well, that would be really wonderful should you choose to do that, because straight from the off you would receive a 25% discount off the retail price, and that's not just for your first order as an introduction to get you through the door, so to speak. It actually lasts all the way through the year for a full 12 months, a full 365 days. So it's really wonderful that you can continue to receive that benefit. Not only that, should you wish, it's an option, but should you wish, you can choose to have those products delivered every 28 or 30 days. It's a completely flexible program. There's no contract, no minimums, no maximums, no anything. It's just there for your convenience, so that then you don't run out of that product that you're loving and trying for yourself. And that could be delivered straight to your door. And like I say, save you that trip to the supermarket once a week or perhaps even more. And the really wonderful thing is that because we're consuming these products and we get into a habit of consuming them every 2 or 3 or 4 hours, depending on how long and busy our days are, that actually what we tend to find, us people that have been ordering them for some time now, is that actually your grocery bill or your food bill will actually drop. And whether that's you working in singularity on your own, whether it's you and your partner, or perhaps you and the partner and children, then the same rule applies. In fact, actually, the more people that become involved in consuming the products, the more full you feel more of the time, the more you actually crave and seek correct and proper nutrition for that evening meal or for that lunchtime snack that you might be consuming. And actually, the less, what's the correct term? The less unnecessary items that we tend to buy. So a typical family of 3 or 4 people can expect to save anything up to a third off the grocery bill in total. So not only is it in relation to the consumption of the products in place of meals, but also in terms of buying less of the wrong, to use maybe not the right word, but things that are not going to benefit your health to the best effect, through choice and desire, not through necessity at all. It's a very interesting thing. The more you seem to put in of the right stuff, the more you seem to crave it along the way. It's a very curious experience that I've just had myself in the last couple of months. So to give you an idea of some of the results, then we're not here to prescribe and to cure any illnesses or anything like that. But of course, it stands to reason that if you're receiving the correct and proper nutrition on not only a daily, but perhaps even twice or even 3 times daily basis, with the snacks and the additions and other bits that you can get along the way, then of course you're going to feel better within yourself. So I personally have experienced, not only in the last, I've just received my products in the last week or so. I got started 5 days ago. I got measured in at the end of the 4-day mark. And by just simply following the program, eating every 3 or 4 hours, having a snack here and there, having a meal replacement shake, etc., then not only have I dropped 8 pounds, I also feel fantastic. I have more energy. I feel more alert and alive. As you can probably tell here at what time we're on, at 9:30 in the evening, still alive and buzzing. But not only that, the really interesting thing is that when I rest my head on the pillow come an evening, and not only do I fall asleep quicker without any of the normal mumbo jumbo that's rushing through my head normally, but also I sleep more soundly, and actually have gone from sleeping 10 hours a day, as I was doing previously, and then rolling over and wanting more, to sleeping no more than 7 hours. I'm feeling completely rested when I do so. And once again, can I just reiterate that this is, whilst it's a cleverly developed product, it's so simple, really, because all it is complete and whole nutrition. So much do I love the products, as do 500,000, 501,000 now, with the wonderful addition of all the great people here in the UK that are choosing to try, love and share the products. That you too can choose, should you wish. Again, no requirement. As a customer, you are perfectly valued, will be well taken care of, and should that be your way you wish to remain, that's absolutely fine. But should you wish to get started, should you wish to share those products with other people, you try them yourself, you come to love them, the benefits that you receive from consuming them on a daily basis, and you want to share that with a few other people, just like John Anderson did 15 years ago, and many more people have since then. And should you wish to do so, then for every person that you introduce personally, so you share it perhaps with your partner or your work colleague or your best friend or your old school friend or someone you bump into or someone you chat to down at bingo or at the local nightclub or bar or gym or restaurant or wherever it might be, it doesn't matter. This is something that we do as we're doing it as we go kind of thing. For every person that you introduce, you will receive a product credit as a customer. So it's a really great referral scheme. So not only are we getting 25% discount off the food that we're consuming every single day, maybe even more, depending on the volume of your order and that kind of thing, but let's stick with a 25 for simplicity's sake now. But also, let's say you introduce someone, let's say you got started on one of the 30-day programs. It's a fairly typical order, helps you achieve whatever your health goal might be and gets you underway in a pretty rapid sense. 20%. And then let's say you introduced a couple of other friends, well, that would be worth a £40 product credit to you, as a for example. There's no caps, there's no limits. If you want to introduce one friend, you get paid the same amount. If you introduce 100 friends, you get paid the same amount proportionately, £20 each time. But the maximum reward for an introduction is 66, and the least is 8, and then 20 there somewhere in the middle too. Now, we can take it one step further without getting bogged down in the detail, because, you know, the promise I made today was that we were going to stick to the products, and hopefully that's what I've done so far. But just to touch on it, then should you wish, you can then, with no additional fee or cost to yourself, choose to upgrade or to transform or translate or whatever the word is. I can't just bring it to mind at the moment. But you can choose to change your account to be an associate, the same as myself. And what that means is that you then order the products, nothing changes, but as and when you're sharing it with other people, then you'll also receive that product credit, or that value, should I say, but it won't be in the form of product credit, it'll be in the form of cash, ready cash. And not only that, by introducing a friend either side of your business, as you'll have then a business center, so let's say a couple of friends for simplicity's sake, then that actually means you will activate what we call the pay plan. And the pay plan very simply pays additional money. So rather than it being just paying on the people that you personally introduce, it actually pays you on the people that you introduce, and they introduce, and they introduce, and they, and they, and they, and they. And let me assure you, having already experienced, like I say, a level of success and having grown a business to 28,000 people in the downline, as it's called, or the organization that we've created, then I personally only introduced 56 of those people. But the trick that I employed was to plug in to the established people's systems, whether it's training, whether it's help, whether it's support, whether it's guidance, learning, all these different things are available. You can take as much or as little as you want of these information events and things like that, real physical trainings, online virtual trainings, personal one-to-one calls via Messenger, Zoom, all the different technologies, as well as out there in real life and having a good old-fashioned conversation and chinwag. So we cover all the different bases for all the different kinds of people that are out there. And by doing that, then I transformed those 56 people, like I say, into 28,000. Now, don't get me wrong, that was not something that was readily or easily achieved. It's not actually something that many people within the industry go on to do. But not because it's so difficult, but simply because it takes a level of commitment over a period of time to achieve. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's the same as any other kind of business out there. Now, if any of you want to get in touch with me and tell me I can put £10 into something and pull $1 million out next week, then please let me know. And I promise you, I'll be the first to send you a £10 note in the post. But until that time, this I consider, in my experience and success and you know, all the other different bits and bobs I've picked up along the way, this really is the opportunity. Now, whether that's to achieve your health goal and be a very valued and loyal customer, or whether that's to join as an associate and wish to build up a walk-away passive residual income, which could be a few £100 a month or could be several £1,000s a month, even more than that. There are more than 200 millionaires that have earned more than $1 million in commission royalties and ongoing cycle bonuses, etc., within the Isagenix opportunity. So whatever level of income it is you want, then that's available. We are here. There's not just me. There are many other very experienced leaders that have gone on to build very, very large and significant businesses worldwide. We're all here to enable you, to see you succeed to the very best of your potential, and to wish you well along your way. So I hope you found that really useful. I certainly know I've enjoyed being here with my little light up sign that you can't even see behind me, so that's not very useful. I'll work on that for next time, maybe. If anyone does have any questions, I am going to unmute the microphones in just one moment. So can you make sure the dog's tucked away or the hoover's not going in the background? Does anyone have any questions for me at all? I'm going to unmute now.
Dave, would you please shut who's unmutable?
So lots of beeping and things. So does anyone have any questions for me at this point? Well, Yeah, that's absolutely fine, no problem. I've obviously done such a good job. I've answered every single question. Okay, so I'm just going to
unmute.
one again.
Went all fuzzy.
Okay, very good. And so I look amazing. Well, thank you very much. That must be the recent drop in weight that I've experienced, as well as the vitality and energy. And thank you very much for your compliment too, Raven. That's very kind of you to say, one of my fellow business associates and partner. So thank you very much then for tuning in. I hope I've not kept you too long. Like I say, I know that I've had a lot of fun explaining this to you. Should you wish to find out any further information, then by all means, feel free to look me up on Facebook or get my contact details from the person that introduced you. Of course, the person that's sent you along this evening to find out more, then please do go back to them. I'm sure that they'll be in touch with you soon, should you not wish to just follow up this evening and get any additional questions answered. You might have been a bit shy or not certain of putting your hand up and asking this evening. And the long and short of it is that I really look forward to welcoming you, many of you on board, to seeing you at future events, whether virtual or real. And until then, I wish you all the very best and look forward to speaking with you all very soon. Thank you.